r/AskReddit by Reddify. Parents who knock on their kids' doors and then immediately open it anyway. What's your thought process? Oh boy, I can't wait to leave the room without closing the door on my way out. I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway. Bonus points for just saying knock. Knock at the same moment as opening the door. You have 2 seconds to put your dick away and close that incognito window. I'm in my 30s. My mom lets me know she decided to come over by pressing her face up to the windows. Sometimes from the backyard. I had to move back in with my folks after splitting from my wife. My mom tried to pull that shit on me, but I was smart and the door was always locked. So instead I would get the doors locked. Yeah, no shit. Why are you trying to barge in here? I could be naked with a hairbrush up my butt for all you know. Also, why do they leave the door a little bit open when they finally leave? Why? My dad used to do this all the time. Until one day I stopped him and told him, look, you're free to barge in whenever you want to, but someday you're gonna come in and I'll be dick in hand. He laughed. I laughed. He knocks and waits now. One day, they are gonna find why we are always staring at our wallpaper. I remember one time when I was 21 I had my girlfriend over and we were fucking. My mum knocked on the door. I responded that we are busy. She knocked again, so I called out louder, mum, we are having sex. Nope, not enough. She opens the door and sticks her head in, sees that we are under the covers, and then decides to waltz and sit on the end of the bed and talk to us about some mundane shit. All the while, I'm still inside my girlfriend, in a state of shock. Not exactly 100% relevant, but was reminded of it and wanted to share. I knock on my daughter's doors, and then if they don't answer or say hang on a minute or whatever, I leave. My youngest daughter says I'm the only parent she's ever heard of who does this. Edit. OMG gold. For the record, if they don't answer, I assume they're asleep and come back later. The chances they're actually in the process of dying by aspirating their own vomit after a fentanyl overdose are astoundingly low. They just are asleep or have their headphones in listening to a D&D podcast. Unless it's the most important thing in the world, it's just not a big deal. My husband, by contrast, does the simultaneous rolling knuckle knock / door open. My mother-in-law popped the bedroom door open the first time I stayed at their house. I was 25 and he was 27. My now husband and I weren't even going to be sleeping in the same room. We were talking privately and she opened the door because she didn't want us having relations in her house. For fuck's sake. Switch flipped after we got married. She gave us a gift bag that included condoms for our wedding night. What the fuck, woman? My mom used to do that if she knocked at all. So, at my house with my kid, I knock. I'll let the kid know what I'm doing. Hey kid, I have laundry for you. Or hey kid, I need to talk to you. Then I wait for an okay. Only then do I open the door. If by chance I get a not right now, mom, I say, I'll be back in exactly 3 minutes. And that's what happened. My mom did, and still does, that when I go back home to visit once a year. I'm 30 BTW. Tock tock tock, can I come in? Opens the door. Sometimes I'll open my eyes to her grabbing empty water bottles out of my room. Oh sorry, I thought you were sleeping. Yes Pauline, I was sleeping until you decided to come in at 7 AM on my vacation time for no reason. The worst is that my grandma is nothing like that, only her. No respect for privacy or sleep. Parent here. Came to respond and realize I have nothing. Will rethink in the future. Thanks. When I was 11 or so, I knocked on my parents' door to have them help me open something, and they didn't answer, so then let myself in. They were having sex. So I'll never do that again. I also don't just walk into people's houses, even if they tell me to. I wait for them to open the door for me. When I was 8, I had a friend down the street call and ask me to come over. He told me just to walk in. I do and happen to see his dad walking around completely naked. So needless to say, I'm pretty scarred for life. Edit. Scared to scarred. Knocking? Parents knock. My mom took away my doorknob because I shut the door. to change my insulin pump while she was yelling at me for not having my college apps done 2 months early. I'm giving you time to put your dick away, but not hide the porn. I always assumed the knock meant, put your dick away. I'm coming in. And as a former teenager, I was always ready to put my dick away at the slightest threatening noise. I don't have a parental answer, but man did my parents learn quickly. My dad would always say, hey you, and can come watch TV upstairs with us if you want. Now we are cool. And usually it was just because what high school couple loves hanging out with their parents? We just didn't want to spend our time hanging out with them. But obviously there were some more private reasons too. So one night, before we had time to react, my dad knocked and threw open the door and looked straight into my butthole with the way the bed was positioned at that time. Honestly, glad that traumatic experience happened to him. I've never had a reason in anyone's house for any reason to throw open a closed door. Only excuses if a bathroom door got closed and then you slowly open going hello to double check. My mom barged in once while I was jerking off and it was to me tell my friend died. My boyfriend's mom did this. Ended up walking into us doing the deed. She now waits. My mother walked in on me using an electric bikini trimmer once. I had one leg propped up on the edge of the tub and was leaning back against the wall with my pelvis tilted upwards. So here I'm taming the wild bush. And boom, my mother throws open the door and then acts shocked at what I'm doing. She then later told me that any man that wanted a woman with shaved pubic hair was a pedophile. BC only children do not have pubic hair. I was like WTF ma. I shave because the hair itches me and I don't like it. Edited to add this, just because my mother said a few crazy comments in her life doesn't mean she was a bad person. I'm sure everybody has said at least a few crazy things in their lives. Please chill everybody. It's just a funny story that happened 15 years ago. Can't we all just laugh at my teenage self getting caught shaving my groin? It's not this serious. Walked in on my kid jerking off once. Never again. To his credit, he took it like a champ. Dude, you're supposed to knock. My mum used to do this, followed by rooting through my phone, computer, and school bag. Created a lot of distrust that ended up with me leaving the house at 14 and not coming back till I was 17. When I found out my father was worse. Edit, one word since people went after that I guess. Very modern family thing here. My parents never knock. So I usually lock it so they can't open and catch me doing something wrong. But that habit of never knocking kind of instilled in my brain. So I never knocked as a kid either. Saw some crap when I walked into brother's room once. Also know that every time my parents do lock the door, they're doing the deed. Therefore, teach kids to knock and wait until you open. Do the same for them. Don't waltz in. Don't barge in. Because they'll do that to you too. Learn from me. Edit, thank you kind stranger. For the silver. It's my very first. Exclamation mark. My mum did this to me with my ex. We were under the covers with his dick up my ass. Had an entire conversation like that. His mum did this to us. But I was copping doggy style. There was no conversation that time. Mostly screaming. Only time I ever do that, I usually wait for a clear response, is when I've asked them to do something one too many times and they have not done it. Me, remember. We need to leave in an hour. Them, okay. Me, leaving in 15 minutes. Please make sure you are ready. Them, okay. Me, 5 minutes. You need to come downstairs soon. Them, okay. Me, *BANGS on door then opens immediately downstairs. Now, don't care if you aren't ready. I'll carry you if you don't start moving right this second. Them, *WHINING, and complaining NOISES*. I can't imagine. My parents would knock on the door and wouldn't come in until I opened the door for them. Really helped feel like I had some personal space in a very crowded house. My son's doctor told me to start knocking on my son's door and waiting until he responds come in. At his 10-year-old checkup, I hadn't really thought of it before, but I made sure to do just that. Only time I come in is if I've knocked multiple times. and I figure he is asleep. He will fall asleep with his glasses and TV on. So I come in to take care of that. You guys had doors?